Title: The Mother and Child in Unit 5B. I want to share my experience from the condo we moved into. When my partner and I started living together, only 2 units on our floor were occupied. I found it strange, wondering why no one lived in the other units or why they weren't up for rent. Even our own unit had been vacant for 15 years before we moved in. The first thing my partner asked was, "You're not the easily scared type, right? You even like horror stuff?" I replied, "Why? What's in here?" "Nothing. Just don't worry about it," they said. Fast forward, we'd been living there for a year. We often played music or the television loudly since we were the only ones left on our floor. The other tenant had moved out, and we never found out why. I usually wore my AirPods when I was home alone, especially when I was busy. That's when I experienced something I'll never forget. One day, my partner had gone to work, and I was in the bedroom when our dog suddenly started barking at the door. I went to check what it was barking at, right at the peephole. I looked through it, but no one was there. I brushed it off. My AirPods had run out of battery, so I just played music through my phone speaker. My partner's aunt, who owns the condo, had told me before, "Always play music inside. It helps keep the fear away." That's when I heard it. The voice of a child playing in the hallway. I looked through the peephole again. Still no one, but I could clearly hear the child. I messaged my partner, "Hey, I think we have a new neighbor." They replied, "No one's moved in." They even asked the lobby guard to check. A guard came up and inspected all the units on our floor to see if maybe a kid from another floor wandered in. He found nothing, but I noticed he looked pale, like something had spooked him. A few days later, our dog kept barking at the door again. This time, I didn't play music. I wanted to listen. I heard someone violently slamming a door. Annoyed, I stepped out and checked all the other units. No one. Silence. I told my partner again. They said maybe I was just imagining things. That annoyed me. So I said, "Next time, I'll take a video so you'll believe me." One night, while I was in the living room, I heard a child running around, then trying to open our front door. I checked through the peephole. No one. I hadn't even stepped away yet when the doorknob suddenly turned. I looked again. No child, but the handle was moving. I heard tiny footsteps running away, then back again. I crouched and peeked under the door. No shadows, but the knob kept turning. I was terrified. I called my partner, who said they'd send the guard up again. The guard came, looked around, and said there was nothing. But this time, he seemed in a hurry to leave. He didn't even look me in the eye. And right after he left, the child came back. This time, I could hear the mother yelling. She was calling out to her child. I finally started recording a video to show my partner. The slamming on the door was loud and clear. That night, around 3 a.m., I was woken up by what sounded like people fighting. I could hear someone crying, begging for help. I rushed to the door to take a video and sent it to the lobby so the roaming guard would come up. A few minutes later, the guard knocked on our door. He looked hesitant. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but tonight is the anniversary of what happened in the unit across from yours," he whispered. "A mother and her child were murdered there. Please don't tell anyone I told you this." "We're not allowed to talk about it." That's what the admin said. "Just play some music, ma'am. It'll help you sleep." Title: The Week He Wouldn't Leave. Let me tell you about the week my father passed away. You'd think death would be the end, but for us, it wasn't. In the days that followed, 3 strange things happened. Not terrifying exactly, but strange in a way that made you look twice at the shadows and wonder if someone you loved was still hanging around. Incident 1. The rip. I didn't realize my father was dying when I got the call. By the time I arrived at the hospital, he had already flatlined. They brought him back with epinephrine, just long enough so my mother and I could say goodbye. But I was too late. All I saw was an empty bed and my mother, shoulders shaking in silence. We cried for a bit. Then I sat down on the hospital bed, not sure why, maybe just trying to feel closer to him. That's when my mom looked at me and, out of nowhere, asked, "Are you still going to class tomorrow?" I said yes. She told me I shouldn't because I wouldn't be in the right headspace and might end up in an accident. I told her I'd be fine. Then I stood up and jumped down from the bed. Not that it was tall or anything, I just made a show of it. The moment my feet hit the floor, we heard a loud rip. We both froze. I turned around slowly, and there it was. My brand new white nursing pants had ripped completely from the bottom all the way to the waistband in the back. I mean demolished. Without even thinking, my mom muttered, "There, your father doesn't want you going." I didn't argue. I went straight home. And here's the kicker. I bought those pants as part of a new set, all the same kind. Only that pair ever tore. Not before, not after. Incident 2. The casket slap. While I stayed home, my mom and her best friend went to Funeraria Nacional to arrange the wake. They were shown a selection of caskets. Her friend leaned into one in particular, checking out the lining inside. She liked the feel, said it was elegant, maybe too elegant. She told my mom, "It's pricey, but your husband deserves the best." Her hand lingered a little longer inside, smoothing out the lining, and then smack! She recoiled, eyes wide, clutching her hand. "What happened?" my mom asked. Her friend looked spooked. "I just got slapped." They laughed nervously, but her voice was shaky. She rubbed her hand like it stung. She said it felt like someone scolded her. "It felt like I was being reprimanded," she whispered. We all joked that Dad didn't want anything too fancy. Sounds like him. They picked a simpler casket. Incident 3. The ticklish wake. By the third night of the wake, everyone was drained. It was past 11 p.m., and most of my family had gone to the side rooms to get some rest. I tried to sleep too, found a corner, and closed my eyes. Then, around 11:30, I jolted awake. Something had tickled the sole of my foot. Not just a twitch or some weird dream. It felt real and playful. I looked around. No one was nearby. The only people still up were chatting quietly in the lounge area near the entrance, too far away to reach me. I shook it off, and just then, a couple arrived. Old friends of my parents. Since I was the only one awake, I got up and greeted them. It wasn't until days later that it hit me. That tickle, that was exactly how my father used to wake me up when I was a little kid, that exact spot on my foot. He used to do it every morning when I was in preschool. Light, teasing, enough to make me giggle and get up. I think he wanted me awake, so someone could greet his old friends. My older brother had his own strange experience that week, but I never got the chance to ask what it was, can't now. But none of us were scared, not really. It didn't feel like a haunting. It felt like a visit, like Dad wasn't quite ready to leave yet, like he had a few last things to say, some reminders, a little help, maybe one final joke. So if you ever feel a tug on your shirt, a tickle on your foot, or your brand new pants rip for no reason, don't panic. It might just be someone you loved checking in. Title: The Day the Trees Screamed. Okay, long story, but hear me out. This actually happened to me. So back in 8th grade, I was studying at St. Paul University in Dumaguete. It's this old Catholic school with a bunch of buildings, kindergarten, grade school, high school, even college, all on the same campus. Every classroom Had a TV for projecting stuff, a shelf, and an altar. Now, I used to not believe in ghosts or anything paranormal. I thought that stuff was just made up. But after this, man, I'm not so sure anymore. It all went down around October, when it was stupid hot. The school nuns, basically the ones in charge, decided to cut down the trees around campus. Don't ask me why. They said it was a distraction for students. I still don't get that. It's just trees. But anyway, the cutting started. My classroom was on the 3rd floor of the grade school building, where all the 7th and 8th graders were. Around 11:30 a.m., I went to the bathroom. I could hear the chainsaws outside, loud as hell. I was mid-pee when I suddenly heard this massive thud, followed by screams from the 7th grade classroom next door. I zipped up fast and went to check. Outside the classroom, I saw kids freaking out. Some were crying. Others just had that shocked look, like they'd seen something wrong. I asked one of them what happened, and they told me they saw a head sitting on the shelf in the room. Naturally, I looked through the window to see for myself. Nothing was there, just the usual altar. At the time, I figured it was a prank, like maybe someone was messing around. But the crying, the panic, it felt too real. Still, I just brushed it off and went back to class. 5 or 10 minutes later, more screaming, this time from the class right next to ours. We weren't allowed to leave, but some of my classmates were already praying, literally whispering Hail Marys while our teacher kept pretending everything was normal. Then lunch came. Me and my friends went to the outside canteen to eat. Things were chill for a bit until students from the high school building, 9th and 10th grade, suddenly ran out screaming. Full-on chaos. It was like a zombie movie or something. Some students had fainted. I saw guys sprinting to the nurse's office grabbing stretchers and wheelchairs. Even the teachers looked shook. And then, I swear, I saw 3 girls I knew speaking in Chinese, Japanese, and Spanish, fluently. These are girls I'd talked to in class. They don't speak any of those languages. But there they were, sweating, shaking, and rambling in tongues. I just stood there like, what the hell is going on? More students were passed out, being carried out of the buildings. It didn't feel like mass hysteria. It felt off. And just when we thought it was over, a huge tree fell. I didn't even see it fall. I heard it. Loud. Like it shook the whole ground. Then the college students came running too, saying their power went out and they saw a face on their TV before it shut off. I wanted to go see, but my friends were like, nope, sit down, stay here. Not long after, a bunch of cars rolled in. The university president, a nun, of course, came with security and ordered all classes suspended. They stopped the tree cutting right then and there and told everyone to go home. Then a group of priests came through with holy water, going into each building and blessing the place. At that point, I was like, okay, this is real. Something weird just happened. They announced that the school had been re-blessed and it was safe to return. Classes would resume, and yeah, tree cutting would continue like nothing happened. And since I was kind of immature and didn't really process stuff properly, I went back the next day like, alright, back to normal. Except it wasn't. When I got to class the next day, only like 20 to 30 of us showed up. Normally, there were 45. A bunch of my classmates straight up skipped because they were still freaked out. And honestly, I didn't blame them. From 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., the school felt dead silent. Our teacher for the last period didn't even show up. I was in the back playing Mobile Legends, just killing time. Then suddenly, screams again. This time from the college building. I ran to the window and saw the college students sprinting across the field. No teacher was in our room, so I snuck out and decided to check it out myself. As soon as I walked into the college building, I got this weird chill. Like, not cold from aircon. I mean cold, like something wasn't right. The kind of chill that makes your hair stand up and your stomach twist. I peeked into one of the rooms, and I swear the crucifix on the wall, Jesus was facing the wall, like the whole thing had turned 180 degrees. I just muttered, "Nope, I'm out," and left right away. After that second wave of panic, the university suspended classes for 2 more days. And that's when it finally hit me. This wasn't just panic. This wasn't just stress. Something genuinely paranormal happened. Something big. Was it possession? A curse? I still don't know. All I know is I was there. I saw it. I felt it. And I'll never forget that weird cold feeling in that building. Hello everyone, Spectral Dream here. I just wanted to thank everyone who's been supporting my small channel. If you or anyone you know has a story you'd like me to narrate, please feel free to comment down in the comment section and I'll see what I can do. I look forward to telling everyone spooky stories. And if you're new here, please have a seat and come along with us on this journey.